What is up, Marvel fans? My name is Trevor and welcome to my channel. Thor Love and Thunder is the 29th MCU movie to come out, and today we're going to rank all 29 movies and place them on their proper tiers. Join me down below in the comment section. How does your MCU ranking compare? You can include the shows if you want. This time around, we're just going to be including all 29 movies. I'm not fully caught up on all the MCU shows. That's why we're leaving them out this time around. And what did you think of Thor Love and Thunder? Let me know down below in the comment section. Hit the like button and subscribe button. Let's hop into these tiers. And start off with our tiers, we have top 5, then we have great, then we have good, then we have okay, then we have meh. Then we have bottom 5. I'm going to go through these as quick as I possibly can just because I update my MCU ranking all the time. Don't have too much new thoughts on these. It's going to be more of a quicker ranking. Let's hop into things in no particular order. First up, we have Avengers Age of Ultron. Avengers Age of Ultron to me is a great movie. It's the worst of the Avengers movies, but I still have so much fun with this one. Get introduced to Scarlet Witch, aka Wanda Maximoff, and Pietro Quicksilver. I think it's great. I love the character of Hawkeye. I love that we get to know more about Hawkeye, and Ultron is a pretty underrated villain in my opinion. Avengers Age of Ultron is in the great tier. Then we have Avengers Infinity War. We're starting off with a bang because this is my favorite MCU movie, going right there in the top 5 tier. Followed by Avengers Endgame, also going in the top 5 tier. You can't watch one of these without watching the other one. These two easily go hand in hand, and I'm just going to go ahead and say it. The MCU should have ended with Infinity War and Endgame. That's a hot take, and it's a topic for another time. Then we have Thor the Dark World, from highest to highs to the lowest of lows. This movie is not worthy whatsoever. It's going in the bottom 5 tier. Thor the Dark World has one part I like about this movie, and that is the ending with Thor and Loki when Thor believes Loki dies for the first of what seems to be many times inside the MCU. Thor sitting there holding Loki in his arms, very sad about him. It's the only time that I really felt attached to this movie. Other than that, it's a total snooze fest. Then we go from Thor the Dark World to the best Thor movie in my opinion, which is Thor Ragnarok, and I put Thor Ragnarok in the great tier. After seeing Love and Thunder, it made me appreciate Ragnarok that much more and everything they did with it. This movie is a pure comedy, and the comedy really worked. Hulk vs. Thor in the arena battle is absolutely awesome, and Jeff Goldblum as Grandmaster is a great underrated character, and I love Valkyrie, and Thor Ragnarok's easily the best Thor movie. Guardians of the Galaxy is up there in a great tier, and I absolutely love this movie. It's always in and out of my top 5. One of the most unique and creative MCU movies, and Ronan is an extreme underrated villain. One of my favorite soundtracks throughout the entire MCU. That's a fact. Then we have Ant-Man, the first Ant-Man. I'm going to put Ant-Man in the good tier. I would say this is from like the 12 to 15 range. I like this movie. I had quite a bit of fun with this movie. I love Paul Rudd being inside the MCU. I'm just not as high on it as everyone else. It's still a good movie though. Then we have Ant-Man and the Wasp, and I'm going to put Ant-Man and the Wasp in the meh tier. I've seen this one time, and after seeing Avengers Infinity War, going to watch Ant-Man and the Wasp, your expectations are kind of almost through the roof because you just watched one of the best superhero movies you've ever seen. And then we got Ant-Man and the Wasp. That 100% tainted the experience when watching it. I have not got back to rewatch this movie. I wasn't a big fan of Ghost. Wasn't the hugest fan of this movie, but that post-credit scene, my goodness. Then we have Doctor Strange, and incoming a hot take. Doctor Strange is going in the meh tier. Not the bottom 5, in the meh tier. Used to be a bottom 5 for me, but something else took its place. The first Doctor Strange is a movie I just can never fully get through without falling asleep at least once. I want to love this movie. I really, really do, but the first Doctor Strange, it never did it for me. Then we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. While I do think this movie is quite a bit of a schlock fest, I love the character of Yondu, and I love how much Yondu's in this movie. And I have a lot of fun every time I watch this movie. I laugh, I have a good time, I love the visuals. I think Ego's a pretty damn good villain. He may be a father boy, but he ain't your daddy. In the good tier for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Then we have the first Iron Man. The first Iron Man easily is a great movie. This one's almost in and out of my top 5 overall as well. In the 6 to 7 range right there. The first Iron Man's easily one of the best origin stories of all time. And is still one of the best MCU movies. It's a top 7 MCU movie. When it one that started all still holds up to this day, you know it's a damn good movie. Then we have Spider-Man Homecoming, which I am a die-hard fan of. I think I like this movie more than most people in the world, and Spider-Man Homecoming is going to go in the great tier. I think this movie is absolutely fantastic. I love the coming-of-age vibe they capture with the Home trilogy inside the MCU. Tom Holland's my personal favorite Spider-Man. Vulture's a great villain, with top 3 villain for me inside the MCU. I love Iron Man's 8 minutes in this movie. I just love the stakes. It all feels a little bit lower, and it feels more personal to Peter Parker. I think it's fantastic. Then we have Spider-Man Far From Home. I was not a big fan of this movie until after watching No Way Home, and the reason I didn't like this movie was because of Mysterio. But seeing what Mysterio did in No Way Home, how it affected Peter so much, Far From Home's got to go in the good tier. And that might be a little low for you as well, but this normally was in the okay to meh tier. It's a good movie. You need to go back and rewatch it. After watching No Way Home, it really made Mysterio a great top 10 villain for me inside the MCU, which he wasn't before. So I actually applaud it. It's going up. It might go up even a little bit more as I go on and rewatch it. Then we have Black Panther. I'm going to put Black Panther in the good tier as well. I'm excited for Wakanda Forever. I'm very nervous to see what they're going to do with this movie. I don't go back and rewatch this one all that much, but I believe it's the first MCU movie to be nominated for Best Picture. That's saying something. That's really freaking awesome. Then we have Captain Marvel, and I'm going to put Captain Marvel in the bottom 5 tier as well. Now, this is the highest of the bottom 5, and I do find enjoyment in this movie. When I first watched it, I actually enjoyed it, but the more I rewatched it, the less and less I liked it. So, it's going to go in the bottom 5 tier, but again, it is the highest spot in the bottom 5, so that's saying something. Then we have Black Widow, which came out last year, which feels like a lifetime ago. I'm going to put Black Widow in the good tier as well. The stakes are at an all-time low because this is a prequel movie, and Taskmaster is not a very good villain, and I believe Dreykov is the guy who's kind of calling out shots. Again, not a very good villain, but getting introduced to Yelena and Red Guardian is something that I cherish because I absolutely love these characters, and I want a Red Guardian series on Disney+, damn it. He's easily the best character. Still fits. Moving on to Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. This movie's great. It was in my top 5, but it's in the great tier as well. There's lots of great movies inside the MCU, and Shang-Chi, it might be my favorite origin story inside the MCU. Shang-Chi and the Legend of 10 Rings is awesome, it's badass, it's hilarious, and overall, it's just a cool vibe, and the character of Shang-Chi is so damn cool. I want to be friends with him. Simu Liu plays this guy so damn well, and Wenwu is probably a top 5 MCU villain for me. I was not a fan of how they sent this character off, but throughout the movie, he was menacing, he was scary, and he was powerful, alright? Then we have Eternals, which also came out last year, and Eternals is going to go in that bottom 5 tier as well. I wanted to love this movie. It was my #1 most disappointing movie of last year. As much as I wanted to love it, I just didn't. I tried to rewatch it, and I can't. I can't get through it. It's a little bit too long for me, so it's in the bottom 5 tier. Then we have Spider-Man No Way Home. Is Spider-Man No Way Home really going to go in top 5 tier? Yes. Yes, it is. The last hour makes it one of the best superhero movies of all time. Seeing Toby and Andrew on screen again with Tom Holland is something I never thought we'd see, and it is so damn awesome. We also get introduced to Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil, in this movie. It goes in my top 5 tier. And we have Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Now, I liked this movie quite a bit when it first came out in theaters. The more I thought about it, the more and more I just didn't like it as much. I still think Multiverse of Madness is a good movie. It wasn't a great tier the last time I did tier ranking, but right now it's in a good tier. And I've tried to give this one a rewatch, haven't watched it all the way through, and I like certain parts of it. I think Scarlet Witch is one of the best villains inside the MCU, and I think her motives really stand out in this movie. America Chavez is great. Doctor Strange is awesome. There's just a couple of things in here that are just a little weird and a little different. And I like they're trying to do different, but it just didn't really sit well with me, and those kind of different things they do really got me shaking my head. And when you get to see the Illuminati and they all just get obliterated, I felt that was kind of a waste. But other than that, Multiverse of Madness is still a good movie, and upon rewatch, it might go up, it might go down. We'll see when Wakanda Forever comes out. Then the reason we're doing this tier list, Thor Love and Thunder. Thor Love and Thunder for me is a bottom 5 MCU movie, unfortunately. It's my biggest disappointment of the year. It's one of the most disappointing movies I've seen in my life. It just felt like I was watching a spoof. Literally throughout the entire time, they had joke after joke. I don't think there was more than probably a minute and a half without them throwing a joke. Again, throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. Nothing stuck. I laughed, I think, twice, and one of the times because I was like, okay, this is kind of stupid, it's ongoing, repetitive jokes. The action was handled poorly, and I thought Thor just made into this kind of goofy, dumb character, and it felt like the play they do in Ragnarok, and they also do in this movie. The little play they do with Matt Damon, how they retell the stories of Thor and Loki, the little parody they do, that's what this entire movie felt like, and that's not good when you're expecting this movie to be great. And just notice something, there's nothing in the okay tier. Let's change that. Iron Man 3 is in the okay tier. I want to love this movie as much as possible, but every time I go and rewatch it, I just realize that I don't think I ever will. I think it's overhated, and I don't think it's underrated. It's not meh, it's just, it's okay. Shane Black did something. He did something with this movie. How are you going to try to take away Tony Stark's powers? Come on. Moving on, we have Iron Man 2. I'm going to put Iron Man 2 in the mid tier. I'm going to be real. I was a hater on this movie for a long time. The more and more I think about it, this has to be a meh movie compared to the bottom 5 because Iron Man's in this movie, and he's one of my favorite MCU characters, and to arguably my favorite MCU character. So if my favorite MCU character is in this movie for pretty much the entirety of it, it can't be bottom 5, it has to be meh. So that's why it's going there, and it has a lot better action than the 4 movies below it. That's for damn sure. Then we have The Incredible Hulk, and The Incredible Hulk is going to go in the bottom 5 tier. I always defend this movie, but it just doesn't fit. It's the black sheep of the MCU movies, and as much as I want to love it, and I love the end battle with Hulk and Abomination, just falls flat a little bit, and that's okay. It was definitely the early phase of MCU, like kind of what direction we're trying to go. I prefer Mark Ruffalo over Edward Norton. Hulk is in the bottom 5. Then we have the first Thor. We're gonna go in that okay tier as well. I think this movie's completely overhated. I think this is the best we've seen Jane Foster inside the entirety of the MCU. This is the best we get to see Thor and Jane Foster's relationship on screen, in my opinion. There's some funny lines tossed in there, and you got this big, cocky god get sent down to Earth and lose his powers and try to find his way a little bit. It's a good little comeback story, has a good message. I think Thor is completely overhated, and I just started turning around on that after I saw Thor Love and Thunder. I like this movie a lot more than Love and Thunder, which is crazy. Then we have Captain America, the First Avenger. Honestly, this movie's going in that Met tier. I am just not a Captain America, the First Avenger guy. I love both of his other movies quite a bit. You're going to see where they land. Montaging through a world war never sat well with me, and just the overall vibe of this movie, I've never really liked. It's one I try to rewatch, and I can never get through, and it's one of my least favorite MCU origins. That's a hot take. You gotta have them. Come on. Sorry. Then we have Captain America the Winter Soldier. It's going to go in the great tier as well, but Captain America the Winter Soldier is awesome because it's a spy espionage movie, and that's what I love so much about it. And this is the best time we've seen Steve Rogers up to this point inside the MCU, and him in this movie is badass. I love his suit in this movie. To get the on your left line, you get him, Black Widow, Falcon in a movie, and you have Bucky being the villain of this movie. It works really well. It's a great movie. And to finish off, we're on a very strong note, we have Captain America Civil War and the very first Avengers both going into the top 5 tier to finish off this epic tier ranking. Captain America Civil War is an Avengers 2.5, obviously, and Team Iron Man versus Team Cap. I've talked about this movie enough. It's marketing down at its finest. I was always Team Iron Man and Team Cap. I constantly go back and forth. The action and emotion is there. It's one of the best MCU movies. It's like my number 4 MCU movie. I absolutely love it. And then we have the first Avengers. It's the first movie I ever saw in my life 3 times in theaters, and I absolutely loved it from the first time I saw it, and I still love it today when I rewatch it. One of the first DVDs I bought when I started collecting physical media. This movie is absolutely fantastic, from the overall just epicness of a big team-up movie, and just the overall epic battle of New York with a great villain, Loki. The first Avengers is something I will never forget. It's my number 3 favorite MCU movie. I absolutely love it. Let me know your MCU ranking down below in the comments section, or at least your top 5. What did you think of Thor Love and Thunder? Did you like it as much as I did? Or is it in your bottom 5s like me? Come on, let me know down below, down in the comment section. Like button and subscribe button. Lots more Marvel content coming this week, and I cannot wait for it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time.